What's up, YouTube? Dr. Kemp here, Hammond Doc. I would like to share with you today something that you run into from time to time, or I run into from time to time down here in the shop when I'm dealing with tubes. Now, this doesn't happen very often with my working with tubes in my shop, but when it does happen, it's an event. And it's something that anyone that's working with tube amplifiers and such as found in the Leslie speakers and the Hammond organs, you need to be aware of this. And that is a tube that is leaking gas and has shorts in it, or a short in it. So I have here a tube that comes out of a Hammond reverb amplifier that goes in a Hammond A100 type organ. In this particular case, this tube came out of a Hammond A102 organ that I have, and I've tested it, and it's showing that it is leaking gas and that there's a short in the tube. So I want to show you that. First of all, we're going to set up I have my B&K 747 tube tester on the desk. It's a mutual conductance tube tester, solid state instrument, and we're going to set it up for this tube, which is a 6G W8. So let's turn the camera over here, pan closer up, and I'll pan even closer when we get to the point where we're ready to push the test. Now, according to the book here, 6G W8, we have the heater should be set on 6. Sensitivity should be set on 52, and the socket is number 29. That's right down here. Socket number 29. Okay, the setup for this tube is 1 and 2 are not moved. 3 is a D. 4 is on A, 5 is at B, and 6 is at F, all the way up. 7 is at C, and 8 is at E. Then 13 over here is at B, and 14 is at A. Okay, and so now, in doing an evaluation of a tube, it is essential that you go through certain steps before you actually push the test button. Here is the test button here. But I don't want to push this test button first. You can go back and watch my video on testing tubes. I don't want to push either of these buttons first. The first button I want to push is this button called the shorts button. Okay? So let's push this button, shorts. Because if there's a short in this tube, then the tube is no good. Alright? So let's push this button, and what do I get? I get a movement of the needle. Let me see if I can angle this so that you can see the needle. So here's the needle right here. Watch the needle move. See that needle move? So any movement of that needle, when I push that, that's not good. That needle should not move if it's a good tube. Alright, so that's a short. That indicates a short. And I don't have any messages in my book that says that it would normally short at this setting. Okay, now I'm going to push the grid emission. The next one here is grid emission, which is the tube leaking gas? And let's see what happens. Look at the needle when I push grid emission, and yes, it's showing grid emission that is leaking gas. And let me show you something else. This light here, watch this light come on when I push grid emission. It says shorts, but it's letting you know that it's leaking gas, and this tube is shorting out. So I do not want to go any further. This is a bad tube. This tube is not only leaking, is not only shorting out, but it's leaking gas. So this is a bad tube, and if I were to push test, it could potentially cause problems or mess up my very, very expensive tube tester, and I don't need that. So what I'll do is I'll put this tube in my group of tubes that I have that I use for training purposes. That's where this will go. Now I have another of the same type of tube. That is the 6GW8. Let's see what a 6GW8 that is in good condition, what it does. So I've just placed it here in the tube tester. Give it I say good condition, but I think this tube is not in good condition because I've already tested it, so it's not good condition. I say good condition, but it's not actually in good condition. But let's see what it'll do. Let's just see what it will do. All right. So when I push shorts, it doesn't move. All right. I'll show you. This is a second tube. So when I push shorts, my finger. When I push that, the needle does not move. Okay. I push grid emission. This is grid emission, which is the gas. I push that, or depress it, depress the gas, and there is no movement. Now, I'm supposed to move this. Okay, I'm supposed to. You thump the tube. Okay, there's no movement. Now I can check this tube. All right, using test 1, and when I hit test 1, I get movement. And I'll show you. Let's go to the needle. Let's see where it comes up. All right. See, it comes up to about 45. That's a bad tube. All right. So that tube is not going to be useful. Okay. So I'll pull that tube out. Now I'll remove that tube. That's a bad tube. Let's check this one. This is another uh, 6GW8. Okay, same type tube. Alright, let's see what we get. I'll push it. No movement on the short. No movement on grid emission, which is gas. We're getting some movement on it. Let's try short again. Thump it. Move it around. Thump it. Grid emission. Thump it. Move it around. No movement. Now, let's look at this. Ooh. We get 24. So we still haven't found a good 6GW8 tube yet. That's a bad tube. Bad tube. Well, I have one more that I can try. Let's try that one. Hello? Alright, someone upstairs answered the phone for me. Good. Let's give this a try. Let's see what we get here. No movement. Alright, we get some needle movement on the test. It's moving very slowly. Let me move you up here so you can see the needle movement on test 1 here. This tube is barely making it into the good spot, or the good position. Actually, now as you see, as it's warming up, now it's questionable. As it gets warmer, look at that. Some tubes that'll happen to if the tube is bad. Sometimes it'll, at first, when it's cool, it might show borderline good, questionable. Then as the tube warms up, it can't hold. It can't sustain quality performance or quality output, or it's just let's see. Let's move it around here. We're getting variable performance. As the tube has gotten hotter, now it's starting to show good. Okay, so here is one, and now as it has warmed up, first it went down. Now as it's gotten warmer, I'll show you the tube still in there. Here's the tube as it's gotten hotter. This particular tube has improved in terms of its performance. Let's see, what is it? Let me show you what I'm doing here. I'm just looking at temperature, or checking the temperature of the tube. Right now it's getting hotter. It's at 130. It started at 129, now 133, 130, 139, 140, 141. 0.5, so I'm writing this on 142. It's bounced between 142 and 143, 142.5, 143.5, 145. So as it's getting hotter, let's see how it's doing. So as it's getting hotter, it has gotten better Now it looks like it is. It's at 147 degrees Fahrenheit, 148, 149. At 149 degrees Fahrenheit, 150. At 150 degrees Fahrenheit, this is checking. Look at that. Look at that. See, the needle is too variable. Now at 152. At 152 degrees. At 152 degrees, 154 degrees. Now it's starting to back down. It's at questionable. Let me show you. You get a tube doing this, showing these types of characteristics. You can't trust that. That's not a dependable, reliable tube. Okay. As the tube is getting hotter. Now this tube is at 161.5 degrees. Look, as the tube has warmed up, now it is showing at 162.5 degrees. It's starting to go back down. There it is. See? So at first it looked kind of like, what was suspicious? What's going on here? What's happening? But as this tube is not warming up, it's at 164.5 Fahrenheit. And you see where it is on the meter now. More consistently, it is showing up in the questionable range. At 167.5 Fahrenheit, it is in the questionable range. So, and there's a second side on this tube. In other words, this is the way the tube is constructed. It's constructed to be two tubes in one. I'll check the other side. So, if you look at the schematics for that particular amplifier, it's as though it needs 4 tubes. So they use this tube, and this one tube takes the place of 2 tubes. So this tube is actually, like I said, 2 tubes in one. And I'll set it up here. Let's set it up. Heater sensitivity at 89 to check the other side. We'll check the other side. I'll have to change this. 1, 2 is all. Let's go with the first 2. We got E, C, nothing, A, B, and then number 9 is at F. 13 and 14 are A. And then let's check for shorts. No shorts. No shorts. No grid emission. And it tests. Now on this side, let's look at how it's testing. Watch this. When you test the other side of the tube, and both of them are to test, you put it on, hit 1, it says. Look, showing strong. That's at about a 92. And the temperature reading on this is 168.5. 168.5. So at a 168.5 degrees Fahrenheit, we're getting a reading of a 91 on the second side of this tube. Okay? So, what does that tell me about this particular tube? What it tells me is that one side, while one side may be reliable, the second side cannot be relied upon. It's not a dependable, therefore this is not a dependable tube, and it needs to be replaced. So, out of 4 6GW8 tubes that we just examined, all 4 of them tested bad, with one showing leakage, gas leakage, as well as a short. All right, that's enough for this edition. This is Hammond Doc saying to you, peace out.